Welcome to today's episode of Decoding Mastery. Our guest today is a truly one of the greats in the music industry, a Grammy Award-winning composer whose work has resonated with audiences worldwide. From TV commercials and film scores to innovative projects that blur the lines between genres, Andy Rehfeldt has crafted a musical legacy that is both distinctive and captivating. Join us as we explore his journey, creative process, and the inspiration behind his award winning work. Andy, welcome to the show. Hi, Andy. Welcome to my podcast.
Hi, Vibhor. I'm glad to be here.
How are you?
I am good today. I am good.
Great, great. So, Andy, you are an award winning, Grammy award winning composer. So, I'm very curious to know about your childhood, how it all started.
Well, my mom and dad are musicians, classical musicians.
Great.
And my mom started teaching me piano at 6, and my dad started teaching me flute at about 7. And later on, he taught me how to play the bassoon. And with learning the flute, I was able to play saxophone because it's the same fingerings. And so I played flute, sax, bassoon, a little bit of oboe, but basically those three. And I was taking some piano lessons too. And then later on, or early on in my life, I got into the Beatles, and I
Oh,
was
wow.
buying I was buying Beatle records um, at the age of 7. So I was like really into the Beatles and some other rock bands like Creedence Clearwater and some other old bands. So I really got into it. And then I got into Elton John and before this I begged my dad to get me a drum set, so I started playing drums and I taught myself how to play drums. So I was banging away and my parents gave me this classical type of teaching. And meanwhile, what I was really into was the Beatles and rock and roll and playing the drums. And then, so a little bit later, I got into Elton John a lot. And so I was started really getting into piano. And basically in junior high, my parents bought me a keyboard and I made a rock band and I was playing keyboards in a rock band. And that's
So,
basically my childhood
so wow.
in a
So
nutshell.
you, because of your parents, so you started at very young age.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah. I think it
So
was,
Andy, when did you decide to become a professional composer? Was there any event or it was like decided in your childhood that one day you will become a professional composer?
it was, it was while I was in high school. I just started writing songs
Okay.
and, and, and it just seemed like a natural thing for me to do was playing music and writing songs. And so when I went to college, which was easy for me to do because my dad was a music professor, actually. He was a woodwind professor. He's retired
Okay.
now. And so I just went to that college and I could not become like a piano. I couldn't have a piano major because I was not that proficient in classical piano. I didn't practice classical piano. I just practiced more like rock stuff. So I decided then to get my degree in music composition. So that's what I have a bachelor's of music and composition. And so, I said, okay, now I'm a composer, right? So I graduated and I just did some odd jobs. And then I moved to LA because I lived about 70 miles inland from LA. And I moved to LA and I started finding work. And, uh, and then for many years, I was just gigging. I was not getting any work as a composer.
Okay.
And so after about 10 years, I linked up with an old friend, and just by chance, I met someone, and I started writing, becoming a composer for his company. Finally, after all that gigging and stuff, and so that finally I became a professional composer at a company called Endless Noise in Santa Monica. And
Great.
I
Great. Great.
and
So when did you create your first piece of music, Andy? Was it in your childhood or when you became a
yes.
oh
When did I write my first or
first piece of music? Yeah.
yes, when I was a child, I started
Okay.
writing just songs,
Okay.
just songs, and I wrote songs for the band, just rock and roll type songs. And let me see, and that's about it. Yeah, back then.
Great, Andy. Great. So you are an award-winning Grammy award-winning composer. So can you share your journey at when it happened, in which year, and how it happened?
Yes, so this company that I was working at, but I worked there for 27 years, and in
Oh,
1992,
super. Okay.
we in 1992 we had an offer from Henson, which is the big company that created Sesame Street.
Okay.
We had an offer from them to write some music for a new movie which was coming out, and the movie was titled Elmo and Grouchland.
Okay.
And me and Jeff Elmassian and Saida Garrett, the lyricist, vocalist, songwriter. She's well known. She's well known for working with Michael Jackson and
Oh,
being the
okay.
singer on a famous video of his. She was a duet singer for that, and so
Which video? Which one?
I believe it's "I Can't Stop Loving You." If that's the title of the
Okay.
song, Saida
Okay.
Garrett. So we were working with her, just writing songs and pitching them to companies, and so this came out, and this offer came, and we wrote some songs, and they liked them. So the song, the big song in that was a song titled "I See a Kingdom" that was sung by. Uh, I'm sorry, my memory is fading me of
No
who sang
problem.
it,
No.
but that was in the movie, and that is what we we as a whole won the Grammy for. All the
In
people
which
working.
year, Andy? Which year?
That was 1992.
1992. Wow,
Yes.
super. So how your life changed after winning Grammy?
It changed professionally as
Okay.
being an employee for the company. Many companies came to us, and we the company started getting a lot of work, and it was basically in just writing music for TV commercials mostly.
Okay.
Mostly, there's just a lot of TV commercials I've done.
And you write music for films too.
I beg your pardon?
For films also, you write music
There
apart
have
from
been
TV
some films.
commercials. Yeah.
Yes, there have been some small films there also done through the company. Um, and a cartoon. There was a big cartoon that I did for Amazon TV, and that was titled "If You Give a Mouse a Cookie." And
Okay.
that's where, and I did all the music for that, played all the instruments.
Wow. Wow, Andy.
That's basically what I did all through working at Endless Noises. I was the person that played all the instruments and wrote pretty much everything. That's
Okay.
what I did.
So Andy, apart from your parents and Beatles, was there any other composer or musician who influenced you a lot in your early life?
Any other composers? Yes.
Okay.
Excuse me. There. So I think in my late 20s, I got I really started getting interested in modern, just classic modern jazz, and so I really got into John Coltrane and Charlie Parker and Miles Davis, and
Okay.
and and just jazz standards. And I started taking lessons from a very great jazz guitarist, and that just opened up my brain and about the guitar and music, and then I just started really getting into modern jazz, and I learned a lot about that because if you know jazz theory, you can pretty much figure out anything else. You can. That's what I
Okay.
learned. I
Super.
learned
And it
that.
happened after you passing from high school.
This happened. Yeah, this happened in 10 years after high school.
Oh, okay. So when you became professional, it happened
I
that
was
time.
I was a late bloomer. I mean, before that, I was a professional. I was just playing rock and roll
Okay.
in clubs for a long time.
Okay.
I was working for like just gigging, and then after the Grammys, then a lot of work came in just from the companies, like I said, just and we were very busy for a long time. We won many awards for writing commercial music for commercials,
Okay. Okay, Andy. So what do
smaller
you think?
type awards. Oh,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No problem. No problem. So Andy, what do you think? What sets you apart from other composers? What is special about you?
I can say that for myself that I am very versatile in many different styles,
Okay.
and and I am very open to any style, and I do emphasize lately a lot of humor in my music. So I mean, there's many composers like that, but I think that's what sets me apart. Is I am not just like a classical composer. I can do any type of rock or any type of pop or hip hop I've done before. Hip hop is just like funk and stuff. I mean, it's just same type of pop and stuff. So I can incorporate a ton of different type of styles
That's
into my
superb. So that
composing.
is your
Yes.
specialization. So
Yeah.
Andy, when let's talk about your creative process, like because you're a extremely creative guy, right from childhood you are learning music, you are practicing music. So what when you are composing a music, so what kind of environment you prefer to work in?
Uh, I prefer to just close my door in my studio here and think a little bit and maybe pick up my guitar and play a little and just start writing. And I will write anywhere because I will be driving in my car, which I drive a lot, and I live in California, so there's a lot of traffic, so I'm just sitting there in traffic. And I'll start singing ideas into my phone here, and and then I'll a lot of stuff comes from that, from just singing into my phone and singing. I'll
Wow,
sing melodies or I'll sing phrases of some verse I can think of, and then I'll just come back and start composing and come up with stuff.
that's how your subconscious mind works. So coming up with new
Yes,
ideas.
and I tell you, since I've been doing it for so long, the more you do it, the easier it gets to just start creating instead of. I mean, I remember at the beginning, it was like, oh, what am I gonna do? What can I think of? And the creative process just comes easy right now. I mean, I can just start coming up with something just like that, something that I
Okay,
like. If it's something that I don't like, then I'll spend like 20 half an hour or an hour coming up with some part of it that I like and then developing it. So I'll develop stuff.
Superb. So, Andy, can you share your daily routine, that how you work every day generally?
How do I work every day?
Means your practice, how much practice you do every day, how many hours you spend uh, practicing it, rehearsing it, and coming up with new music, composing new music. So, how you divide your day?
I divide my day. I usually get up and I start practicing my instrument, my chosen instrument these days is the guitar,
Is it your favorite
and
instrument?
it is
Because
my
you
favorite.
told that you started with piano, so now guitar and you learned jazz. Okay,
Yes,
from
and
yeah,
incidentally, I started out as a keyboard player, and then in my
okay,
mid 20s, I switched to guitar.
okay,
It's very weird for me. I switched to guitar because I was always into guitar, but I was much better at playing keyboards. And just another chance thing came up where I got offered to play gigs regularly on guitar. And I wasn't very good, and I just started practicing a lot. But I really got into guitar, and that's when the jazz interest came too.
okay.
So I'm trying to get back into keyboards actually, but I just want to practice Bach music, just because that's really great music to practice on keyboards. So I'm getting back into that. But I practice the guitar. I get up. I do chores. I take my daughter to school. I exercise, and then I come back and I either have to start prepping music that I have to perform for people, or I start coming up with stuff with music for social media because I have a YouTube channel and Instagram, and I do all that social media stuff, which promotes some revenue also, and so that's what I do. I compose if I have no one bringing me something that I have to compose for, then I will come up with ideas and come up for things where I can possibly make a music video, which would bring some popularity. So, and I get calls from my music from the music company that I worked for 27 years. They still call me. Like two weeks ago, I wrote music for them and pitched it to them. So, but I just get up and so lately, sometimes like this month, it's been a little bit slow as far as creating, and then other months it gets much better. It kind of seems like it goes with the season sometimes, If it's raining a
Yeah,
lot,
right.
if it's raining a lot, maybe I don't feel as creative, and then when the sun's out, then I feel more creative. It kind of
Oh,
feels like that sometimes.
okay. So, Andy, how you manage your time and basically discipline? How you follow discipline and what kind of habits you have in your life, which is very important to become a master in music, become a master composer.
Yeah, my basically the discipline is these days because I'm very busy. I want to spend 2 hours at least a day. I
Okay.
mean, back when I was not married with kids and stuff, I could spend like 8 hours, but not anymore. It's like I want to spend 2 hours just practicing my instrument, and then I spend possibly an hour practicing on the piano, and then I want to spend like 2 hours. I try to spend 2 hours just creating music, just as a practice, just to
Oh,
come up with stuff. And
okay.
so that's about 5 hours there. So I got about 3 hours left, and a lot of times I'm dealing with video editing. I'm dealing with computer stuff. I'm editing some music or I'm mixing some music, so I have to spend time with music production up on my computer screen. Have to sit there and spend the other 3 hours doing that, and that accumulates about 8 hours for me. You know,
Okay, Andy. Okay.
yeah,
So
it's very
you,
very simple.
yeah, it's really good that you are how you're managing your time and hours and on various platforms you're doing something for social media, for YouTube, for Instagram, and then you are working for your clients, for your employer, okay,
Yes,
and you're managing some time with your family too, okay,
yes,
and
yeah.
uh, so do you feel that you face creative blocks
I
after
do I
this so
feel
much
what?
experience? Creative block that uh, sometimes you feel that you are blank, you are not coming up with some music, or
Yeah,
yeah. Still
yeah.
you feel
Sometimes
that, okay, still you face creativity. So you said that you are better productive in sunshine and when the sun is there, and during rain that sometimes you are not coming with the ideas. So
yeah.
if you are working
Sometimes
on some important project, how you deal with this creative block?
you know at the beginning that used to happen to me, but not any. I mean, if someone comes to me with something that they want, I can start creating something that I like, that I think that they would like right away. And at the beginning, like when I started working at that company, I used to
Okay.
be I used to get really stressed out because it would be harder for stuff to come out. But not anymore. I mean, I've been doing this for so long, that for
So now you
27 years.
you easily come up with ideas while you are driving or you are in your studio. So
While,
it's
while
not
I'm walking, while I'm running, I'll come up with ideas. And
that superb.
I have this recorder for that I can just sing into really quickly.
That's great. That is a sign of great master. Okay. So which is your preferred medium? Like you do a lot of work for TV commercials. Okay. Yeah,
I
you are
did,
working
yes.
for films. You are working for uh, projects like you are working your own stuff like YouTube and Instagram. Which one is your most favorite platform, which you enjoy the most?
Um, well, it used to be YouTube.
Okay.
Right now, my favorite platform it's not a great platform, but it's my favorite right now, and it is Facebook. And the only reason that is because um, I've accumulated 115,000 followers just
Oh,
really
superb.
quickly on Facebook.
On
So
Facebook.
I have a huge audience right there right now. And I
That's
believe that that'll probably change in a year. I'm working back toward YouTube, trying to get a big following there, which I did have 15 years ago. But Facebook is my favorite right now as far as the
Facebook
social
is your
media work.
favorite night. Okay. Okay. So
And
Andy, yeah,
yes.
yeah, please go on.
And I'm generating revenue from that, so
Oh, okay,
it's
okay.
not wasted time.
It's not waste of time. That's
Yeah.
great. That's great.
Yes.
So Andy, how do you balance creativity and technical aspect of composing music?
So come again. How do I
How do
what?
you balance technical part of the music with the creativity? That you are creative and technical side, both you have to balance it.
Well, I don't spend too much time trying to make the sounds like a drum sound, or like I use a lot of samples. So I don't spend too much time trying to work with the samples and stuff right at first.
Mm.
So that I am just composing. I am just playing the sampled stuff on my keyboards or my guitar part, and then after I'm done coming up with the piece and having all the notes recorded in and everything sounds good, then I will spend the time in and I'll call it post production, and then I'll spend the time making the whatever sampled sounds. If I was using sampled violins or brass instruments, I would spend the time to make them sound better right then. So yeah,
Okay.
it's a balancing process because you can spend a lot of time tweaking notes and stuff in your digital workstation, and you want to try to stay away from that, and you want to try to get all the musical notes down first.
Mm,
So
right. So, Andy, when you are working for different projects like TV commercials, and you are working for your own stuff on Facebook and YouTube, so what is is there any difference in process of creating music, composing music, or it's the same in all these platforms?
um, I believe it's like the same. The 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 creative process for YouTube and Facebook and is less stressful because I am basically creating content and music that I like.
Yeah.
And so if I am working for a client,
Mm.
then I have to create and I have to constantly think about, okay, what are they going to like? So you're creating for someone else.
That's very important point because how do you manage keeping your own style when you're working for your client because he's demanding something else. So how you maintain both, keep the balance that you should stay with your style as well as you have to fulfill the demand of your client.
With my style, you're
Yeah.
saying it's sometimes if you're composing for a client, it's not going to sound like me at all. It's just going to sound like something else. I mean, I'll be coming up with something that doesn't sound like anything that I do on YouTube or anything. So you just kind of put on a composer hat and you just compose something that is totally different from your own style. That's what you
Okay.
have to do.
So you have to wear some other hat, like when you are composing music for your client.
Yeah.
You can't be your
Like,
own self. Okay.
it's most of the time, yeah, you can't I can't put in some great guitar lick or nothing. I just have to, you know, just have to be somebody else. Like John Williams. Like I've had to try to be John Williams. You know who John Williams is?
John
He's the
Williams.
yes, he's a composer
Okay.
for Star Wars and stuff. You have to try to write music to that caliber, you know. Which you know what, John Williams he copied Gustav Holst, which was a 19th century composer. He copied him. So that's the thing about
Okay.
music. A lot of composers copy other composers. You know.
Uh, is it copy or is it inspiration? What do you say better? Or
Well,
it,
I guess copy is a harsh word.
okay.
Let's say inspire. Yeah, you're more inspired.
Okay. Yeah. So they are inspired by some other
Yeah.
music. Okay. Great. Great. Yeah. So how do you, what kind of challenges you face, Andy, when you're collaborating with other artists, when you're working with other artists?
Sometimes other artists they work differently and they think differently, and the only problem I've had in the past working with other artists is that I will sometimes be irritated with them because they are spending way too much time trying to dwell on some little aspect of the whole creative process. That's the only experience I've had difficulty with. But other than that, working with other artists, I'm fine. I've had wonderful collaborations with many people.
That's great.
That's the only negative experience I've had is working with some people that would like dwell. I call it dwelling. They'd be dwelling on a little aspect of something, and that would slow the whole process down. That's
Okay.
only bad times I've had.
Okay,
If that
Andy.
makes
Great. So, Andy, you mentioned that when you're driving car, so you, whenever some idea comes, you just simply note down on your mobile, record it on your mobile. So, how is
yeah.
technology helping you? Like, what are the other gadgets or digital tools or softwares that are available nowadays that help you in composing music?
Well, ever since 20 years ago, I mean, I've I have this computer studio right in front of me, so I have tons of sampled instruments, which I mentioned, and I can just come up with anything right here in front of me that sounds like the real thing, pretty close, like a real. I can get any type of sounds I want, pretty much. If I don't have them with me, then I can find them on the internet, and that just makes everything much easier than before. Because I remember a long time ago when all I had was like a cassette recorder, and I did not have anything called a sampler where I could sample violins or woodwinds or anything. And luckily for me, I'm a guitarist, so I can play all my stringed instruments. I can play acoustic or other guitar, and I can play bass. And then for drums, I can I just play on the keyboard, or I use this pad. And, it's all this all this all this modern technology is just it's so much different than how it used to be 20 years ago, which
So, you have to
was,
learn all these technologies.
yeah, I mean, this one's pretty simple. If you're playing drums on this and you're playing with your fingers, so,
Okay.
but yeah, I mean, it took a long time to learn the technology. It took a long time for me to learn how to use Apple Logic. And before
Oh,
Apple Logic, I used another one called Pro Tools, and these took a long time for me to learn. It was frustrating at first, learning how to work computers and learning from a lot of mistakes.
okay, Andy.
Computer
So,
technology.
computer, and now it's AI. It's the world of AI. So, how AI is it a boon for musicians or is it a challenge for musicians?
Um, well, I haven't grasped AI yet. I've used it. I work with a producer who used it a lot for artwork. I did one video where we made a song, and then
Okay.
I added a guitar to it. But I have not started working with AI yet. I'm kind of scared of AI.
Okay.
It's kind of scary, They can write everything. They can write something that would take me a day, and the computer can now write it in 5 minutes. So
Yeah,
I
they're
haven't
becoming
grasped
smarter and smarter.
AI. I haven't grasped AI yet. I know I'm going
Okay.
to have to eventually.
So, yeah, it's becoming smarter and smarter day by day.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So, Andy, you have a reputation like you're a Grammy Award winner. So, do you feel any pressure that you have to come up with, like you have to maintain that reputation and you have to come up with better music, much better than what you created, or you have to maintain that same reputation?
Yeah, I don't feel any pressure from it. I mean,
Okay.
I feel that I was lucky to have it, and it's great for my experience, and I'm just creating, and I don't feel any pressure. I just
Okay. That's cool. That's good. So how you maintain your cool, like how you maintain, because nowadays there is so much, you can say that it's very difficult to keep the focus because so many gadgets are there, mobile is there, so many ways to take away your focus. Because when you were learning in that age, there were not so many technologies or gadgets, mobile were there. Okay, nowadays, um, TV, computer, gadgets, so many distractions are already there. So, how you maintain your cool, how you keep your cool, that and stay focused towards your work because it's a very creative work. And
Well, that's a cha-
second thing,
th-
sorry, I'm just adding one more point because how you take care of your business, like you are saying that uh, you are earning some money through your Instagram and YouTube account, then your clients. Okay, so how you're maintaining that contracts and royalties and uh, managing that stuff with your creative side? Two questions.
yeah. So there are, these days there are a lot of distractions and there are a lot of things coming at you, and I am guilty of it. Just like everyone I see, you pick up the phone and you start looking at something. You got the computer in front of you. I even wrote a song about that. People looking at their
Okay,
phones all the time, but
okay.
yeah, and then when you look at all the stuff on the internet, you can get discouraged. You can definitely get discouraged. You can see a 9-year old girl in China that knows how to play guitar better than you, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And but it's just all kinds of distractions are coming at you, and I struggle a lot some these days. So I am trying to keep focused on what I should be doing and trying to stay away from this device as much as possible, unless I just want to record into it. But that's hard because I am working with social media, so I look at it because and it's it's a challenge to stay away from that, and because a lot of time is wasted, and I believe a lot of people probably these days struggle with that. I
So
think.
nowadays it's challenging to become a musician, to become learn music and
Oh
practice
yeah.
it for young generation compared to what
Ye-
when you were young, when you were when you started learning music.
I think so, and I'm not quite sure why, because now if you really put your mind to it, you could find virtual teachers online, and you could even learn from that. But I believe that the having the personal contact of a teacher right next to you, physically helping you, that's probably missed a lot for a lot of,
Nowadays.
yeah, nowadays,
Okay.
which is how I grew up.
Yeah. So Andy, do you work on some mental exercise and physical exercise to be active in creativity?
Yeah, to try to maintain some mental well-being, which I struggle with that also. I struggle with depression and stuff like that, but I've regularly every day I do exercise, and that seems to help a lot. Just exercising and keeping my
Okay, that's
body
great.
healthy, that helps a lot. Because
Okay.
in the past, I've had problems with alcohol addiction and other
Okay.
things, and these days I'm much more healthier.
Superb. Superb.
4 years sober.
That's great. That's superb. So, Andy, what is the most rewarding part of your work as a music composer?
The most rewarding part, I would say, when I'm done with some creation, some musical creation that I'm really proud of and I'm really happy about. And
Which one is your favorite
that
project? Which one is your most favorite project?
my most
Till date.
favorite project.
Yeah.
Um, there's a lot of them, but
Okay.
they're basically just musical pieces that I've written and that I think are really good, and some of them have a lot of humor in them, but I can't really name one specific one.
Okay.
I
No
can't
problem.
name
No.
one.
That is a good sign
Sorry,
of,
man.
again, Master, because everything is very close to you. All of these projects are very close to you.
Definitely,
Yes.
yes.
So, Andy, how has composing music has evolved over all these years now, especially in this modern world in music?
How has it evolved?
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, the the classical composers, they were, I believe that they were the most schooled, the most they knew the most about writing music and doing it a certain way. And I mean, just think of it. When you just think about classical composers, they didn't have any distractions, they didn't have any electricity, they didn't have anything. They had the wilderness, and they just must have spent most of their time just concentrating on that one aspect, I think, or something like that. I can't. That's what I imagine. But these days, composing can be done by people that are less schooled. They don't know how to read music. They just learn by ear, and that, I mean, that's been going on for 60 years now. Like the Beatles, I don't think the Beatles knew how to read music, so they were just writing their lyrics down and remembering the chords and the melodies, and using tape recorders
yeah,
to 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 write their ideas. And so the whole composing process, because with the help of technology, ever since the invention of the little cassette machine, they could record their ideas onto that. I mean, that's just an old-fashioned version of this. And so that probably, having a device like that, probably made many more people have the ability to come up with music, because
right.
they know they didn't have to write it down.
Yeah.
They just had to. They had an audio device where they could put their ideas on right there, and you can hear it. I mean, the
But what about
classical
the
composer.
fundamentals? What about the fundamentals? Because these old school musicians, classical musicians, they were fundamentally very strong because they practice a lot. They used to write by their own hands, and now digital gadgets have taken care of that part. So fundamentally, are they strong? The young generation, the new generation,
I beg your pardon.
are they fundamentally strong like the old ones? Because now we are having gadgets and all this, so they don't do so much practice like the people who used to do practice in the olden times.
Yeah, I don't know if kids are practicing. Definitely kids who play keyboards and stuff. They probably don't hardly practice. I mean, the different thing is I see these kids who are playing guitars, and they are very proficient. Those kids are practicing. But I think that the kids that are playing more keyboards, they don't
Yeah,
have to practice so much because they have all these great sounds right away. All you have to do is push one button, and you're getting great sounds and samples, and like kids they'll they'll use loops. You know what loops are? There's just like a one four beats of like a drum a drum part that's already recorded, and all the keyboard stuff like that, which is different from people who are playing guitar and bass and violin and stuff. But I think kids who are taking up keyboards aren't practicing as much because they can just use loops and other devices that make it so that all that they just have to know a little bit about the piano. That's what I
Okay.
believe.
So when it comes to keyboards, it's not they are not practicing it because a lot of music is already available. Most sounds are already available in the
I
keyboard.
think that's the problem. I mean, I've seen kids who really know how to play the piano and stuff, but I do see a lot of people and a lot of probably like hip hop producers and stuff. I'm not knocking them or anything, but they're probably just spending a lot of time just gathering loops, and they don't know how to play like a classical piece or something great like that. I mean, but they're learning what they have to learn for that type of music, which is that's another process, but it's not like practicing an instrument. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
more like
right. And
it's more like producing and working with the technology.
so, Andy, what is the ideal age to start learning composing music? What do you think?
I what am I ideal? What
Ideal age of learning how to compose music?
I think that a child can probably start at age 5, probably if you if you motivated a kid and said, "Hey, let's write something on let's come up with our own music." I think a child, maybe even 4 years old, could probably start composing their own little melodies and stuff.
Wow.
I think so,
So,
definitely.
and you came from musical family, your parents were musicians. But what about those kids who are not from musical family? So, what is the right way? What is the right way to start learning? Because
The right
uh, people who are living in remote areas, people who are not able, tutors are not available. So, because you said that classroom kind of teaching is the best way of teaching, which kids are generally missing these days. So,
well, what is the right way?
hmm, so how can they
Yeah,
find tutors? They should approach local tutors, or they should go for the great like masters like you and learn from them online, which is which is the right way.
I believe that is the best way. I believe that to get a fundamental learning process. I mean, start to learn. I believe that that's the best way to have a physical teacher, and
Local tutors.
you
Okay.
start to learn how to read music, and you start to play some of those little Mozart pieces, or you know, I mean that for Western music, for Western classical music, that's the best way. But I don't know about the other side of the world, but I know about my side of the world where that's probably the
Okay, Andy.
best way.
Okay. So, Andy, how important is to network and build relationship in music business?
That is very important, and um, that's something that I'm still not good at. I'm still working at trying to get good at that, but that is very important. You want to keep you have to spend a lot of time calling people, emailing people, and just saying hello to them and saying, "Hey, how's it going?" and keeping in touch with people, or else they'll forget about you pretty much. They won't be
Okay.
coming to you. You got to go. You got to go. You got to network, and you got to say
You have to be good in networking if you want to work with get projects from the clients. Okay.
yes,
Okay. So,
definitely.
what is the best advice you have ever received, Andy, when you started learning music? You started first you started from your parents, then you went to high school, then you uh, struggled for 10 years. uh, and you start learning jazz, guitar, and all these things. So, what is the in your entire life? And then you also received this award, Grammy Award. So, what is the best advice you have ever received in your entire life?
The best, the advice I can give to someone who wants to do what I'm doing is you have to keep at it. I mean, you have to keep a positive attitude, or and you have to keep working, and you have to keep learning. You definitely have to keep learning. Once you can't you never reach a plateau where you said, okay, I'm done, I am the master. No, you have to keep on learning stuff, especially these days about technology, and and you have to keep on practicing. That's for sure. Practice, keep learning, keep a positive attitude. I'm going to say that those three things, if that
And
helps.
you are a family man. So, how do you divide your time between your family and your professional work? You work from home, your studio is at home. So, how do you
Yeah.
divide your time between your family and your work?
Well, that was always a rough one. I have one daughter who's 13 now, and my other
Okay.
kids are grown up.
Oh,
So, but when they were growing up, my wife was lucky enough to stay at home and take care of him. And I would, all the weekdays, I would be in Los Angeles working late nights. And so my kids did not see me too much during the weekdays. I mean, they'd see me in the morning. I'd take them to school. So it would be during the weekends that I'd be going to the baseball and soccer games and stuff like that. So that's basically how I did it. But that's not ideal, definitely.
is any of your kid musician?
Yeah, my oldest son is a musician and a composer, and he's composing
Okay.
for some films. I mean, some just student films and stuff. And he's writing stuff on social media. And then my other son is he's just plays accordion of all instruments for fun. And then when my daughter was growing up, she was a singer, and she took some piano lessons, but it didn't pan out. So none of them became like, or just my oldest one is working more toward like the professional aspect of being a musician.
Okay, Andy. So, one last question, Andy. What is required to move from good to great to win a Grammy one day?
So come again, what was that question?
What is required to move a good musician to become a great musician to win Award one day?
What is required?
Yeah, what is required? What efforts, what
to
kind of practice, what kind of work he has to do, he or she has to do
to
to receive Grammy
to
one day
become
like
a
you?
to win a Grammy award? What is
Yeah,
required? You what is required is, well, you're gonna have to work with other people. Probably you're gonna have a lucky break. You're gonna get that lucky break, and you're gonna work with some other, find people that are really good to work with, and that are possibly better than you at something, so you can learn from them. And what is required is just a talent and luck, and a good worth ethic. You got to work hard, and then chances are you might get this award. That's
that's
all I
superb.
can say about that.
So you keep a Grammy Award at your home.
Yes.
You used to watch it like daily and just get inspiration.
Not really. I mean, it's over here in the corner right now because somebody threw something at the glass, so I have to replace the glass. So I don't
Oh,
really look at it or nothing. But
okay. Okay. Okay, Andy, thank you so much for all your insights and all your sharing your experiences about your life. Okay, and it was wonderful meeting you and learning so many things from you.
thank you. Likewise.
Yeah. So have a great day, Andy. Thank you.
Okay, you too. Have a great day.
That was an incredible conversation with Andy Rehfeldt, a true master of his craft. His insights into the world of composition and the music industry were both inspiring and enlightening. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did. Be sure to check out Andy's work on social media platforms and follow his journey as he continues to push the boundaries of music. Thanks for tuning in to the Vibhor Asri podcast and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode.